Right, hello. Let me get this full screen. There we have it. Let's get to the comments. Last Palmer's Mackup. I'll tell you what, mate, your dedication to be first astounds me in a good way. Morning, lads. FTM, absolutely. Yeah, sorry, I'm just quickly sending a couple of links to people, see if any of them want to join. But yeah, how are we all doing? This is the morning after deadline day. Just bear with me 1 second. I want to join the. Right. Okay, then. Here we go. So let's put that away for the moment. I've sent a couple of links to the likes of Sean and maybe Dave Lawrence off What the Folk, but we'll wait and see. I mean, if nobody's able to join, then that's more than fair enough. I've even sent a link to a group chat with Jam Sani in it, so let's see if we can get a sort of a stream going. Obviously, guys, as you know, this is the first time I've been able to talk about what's happened on deadline day. In terms of in terms of what happened with Sunderland, in terms of the incomings, the outgoings, and everything in between. So, yeah, I'm quite what do you call it? Yeah, I mean, I'm quite, and to some degree, I'm quite relieved the window's finished now but it's certainly been an absolute roller coaster of a window. I don't think there's anyone that can sort of say otherwise. Here's Sheffield Wednesday's biggest fan. Oi, oi, Bowers. Oi, oi, Case. Yeah, how are you doing on this fine Tuesday morning? Well, the weather looks actually not too bad. But yeah, let's quickly just quickly trying to put something on in the background so I can look at Sunderland's highlights of Sunderland's last couple of games while I'm chatting away to you, lovely lot. Right, screw it, go on and put the extended highlights of the Brentford game on because why not? Watch us win in the last minutes. Right, here goes. Let's see if we can get some more comments in. Acacia Cameron Jr., I'm good. How about you? Yeah, I am not doing too badly. I am not doing too badly in the slightest. Right, guys. So as you know, obviously the summer 2025 summer transfer window has now concluded, and we, I believe. Now let's see if I can get this right. We signed. I think it was Brian Bobby. We signed Gertrudia. I know I'm going to pronounce that wrong, so someone can please correct me on that. And then Bertrand Traore. We have oh mate, honestly, Las Palmas transfer window could only be better if we signed Isaac just for the crack. Oh mate, I'll tell you what, it would have been World War III in Tyneside if that had happened. Not to make a joke out of it, obviously, because it's not a good event whatsoever, but still, you get me point. It would have been mental scenes if that had come anywhere close to happening. But yeah, so we signed Gertrudia, Brobby, and Traore on deadline day. And if I remember correctly, I believe going out was Patrick Roberts, Alan Browne, Niall Huggins, Jensen Sealt, all on loan. I mean, if you want to technically count Mark Gahey as an outgoing, just in terms of the fact that he got recalled from Chelsea, and obviously he's no longer at Sunderland. So, but I personally don't count that as an outgoing. So I would say, but out of the ones that we had on the books that were ours that ended up leaving, obviously 4 of them left to go out on loan. So yeah, we'll go once we get into the stream, we'll go through every one of them, and then we'll sort of talk through it and just see how people feel about it. Hello, Ryan, my friend. More Michael made 10 out of 10 for our transfer window. We've at least got 2 or 3 competing for each position and strengthened when it was needed. Massive credit to KLD, Speakman, and Liveries. We've got to mention Florian Gazolfi as well, the sporting director who came in from, I think it was from Roma, but he's one of the top, apparently abroad, has been deemed one of the best top sporting directors. And I think he's played a massive part in a lot of our deals. But the 3 that you've mentioned there, yeah, I think you've got to give them immense credit for this. And I've obviously said that I've been someone in particular with Kira Louis Dreyfus. I've been very critical of him. I was very critical of him a year ago, actually. But in general, I think that he's really, not say redeemed himself because that's probably the harsh word, but he's certainly made up for what's happened, like with the Black Cats bar shenanigans last year. And I think that we are starting to look serious and look like we're really wanting to. Well, what was the phrase? Not just survive, but thrive in the Premier League. I can't remember where I read that, but I definitely remember reading that somewhere. So someone might want to correct me on that. Drifter, see if you can get some more comments in, guys. How do you guys feel about the window? Drifter, with AFCON coming up, do you think Sunderland are short at right wing? If Bertrand Traore now, I don't believe he goes to AFCON, but again, please somebody correct me if I am wrong on that. If he doesn't, then no, I don't think we are. But well, whether it's short of quality on the right wing, I have no clue. We'll find out one way or another. And why is it? Huggins went to Wickham as well. Yeah, I think I mentioned that, but if not, then you are correct. And yes, Gazolfi has been massive. Right. So anyway, let's quickly go through the deadline day business, and we will. And I'll tell you, we'll start with the outgoings. We'll start with the players who have left the club on loan for the 25-26 season. So the first one, let's start with Niall Huggins. Seeing as Ryan mentioned him, so let's highlight that comment again once it lets me do it. Come on. There we go. Niall Huggins went to Wickham. Yeah, it's an interesting one. That I'm very surprised that he went to League One. I thought for sure that he would be able to get a championship move. But at the same time, Mike Dodds knows him, and that familiarity will only help. I know Wickham haven't started the best, but I would imagine he'll be in a team that will be doing quite well in a number of games, and certainly not getting battered in a number of games. For Wickham, I think it's a fantastic signing. I think it's a really, really, really good statement of intent to get him on loan for this season in League One. So I think that, and obviously the thing with Niall Huggins, and I'll say this in particular with Jensen Seal as well, Niall Huggins is at the point where he needs to be going out and he needs to be playing. And it's a shame, really, because it's not like Huggins has been injury prone per se. It's not like where Sirkin, for example, keeps getting like these little niggly injuries and everything else. But it's more, he's got two huge injuries that just have not helped him at all. I think it was one where he got in the first season he was here, the last League One year. He got a massive injury there, which I think kept him out for about a good part of 12 to 18 months. And then obviously the second championship year, 23-24, he started really well. He was one of our better players there in the first half of that season. But I think what happened to him then was that he got a nasty injury against Coventry, I think it was. Beale's first game, when you think about it looking back. So I think if you're really looking at it from that perspective, he's had two massive strokes of misfortune when it comes to injuries. But there's no getting away from the fact he needs to play regularly. And I think if he has an injury late in the season this year, then I think we need to probably cut our losses with Huggins, unfortunately, which is a shame because I'm a fan of Huggins. I really like him as a player. I go through before, but I'll go on to the next one. I'll go to Jensen Seal next. But let's have a look. Joseph Owen, how do you think we will line up with these new signings? Still got a strong connection with those who got us promoted, but it looks like those who remain in the starting 11 could have a tough time. I get that. I mean, obviously, the balance is not upsetting the harmony of the squad that got you promoted, but at the same time, you have to be ruthless because it's the Premier League. If you don't show that ruthless nature, you get punished. How do I think we'll line up? Well, I'll come back to... If I had to guess right now, with what we've got, I would imagine it would probably be Roofs, Hume, probably Ballard. Well, I was going to say Ballard, but Michele played excellently against Brentford, so it's a tricky conundrum, but it's one you want to have, isn't it? So at the minute, I'd probably say unchanged back four. So Hume, Michele, Alderete, and Reynaldo. And then I'd say, obviously, the midfield three kind of picks itself, doesn't it, at the minute, which is Xhaka, Siddiqui, and Diarra. And Dingwa Talby on the wings. And then the big one, I wouldn't be surprised if Brobby started against Crystal Palace, but that's what I'd say at the minute. But even then, if that's the case, then you've got Isidore on the bench, Mayenda on the bench, Rig on the bench, Lafay on the bench, and in fact, even then, do you take Lafay out of the team when he was really good? Because I thought he was excellent second half against Brentford. I thought he was fantastic. But say that midfield's what I've said it'll be. So you've got Isidore, Mayenda, Rig, Lafay, Neil, Ballard. What was the other ones? Masuaku. Straight away, you're looking at a bit. And then obviously Traore on the bench as well. And even Geertrudia. Like, when you're looking at it like that, straight away, the depth looks much better. Obviously, again, on paper, it looks much better because I haven't seen many of these guys play yet. So it's hard. It wouldn't be fair for me to comment yet. But that's what I say. But if you're looking at it that way, remember what Kieran McKenna said last year at Ipswich. Squads in the Premier League get stretched considerably. And this is where I think we needed the depth. And we'll talk about my feelings on the window overall later on. But yeah, I think it was important to address those positions. But it's a good question. It's a good question. I'm keen to know what people think in the comments about how they think we will line up in going forward in the Premier League. Drifters as Traore is in the Burkina Faso squad. Right, you'll have to. My geography's terrible, mate. You'll have to tell me if they're going to be participating in AFCON. Wickham have signed Cauley Woodrow from Luton and Sam Bell from Bristol City plus Huggins, so surely Dodds will start to have a better time at Wickham now. Well, you'd like to think so. He should do it if he's getting players like that in League One. Drifter doesn't mean he'll get selected at AFCON. We have cover. Drifter, even though he was injured, in the squad. Right, okay. So the next outgoing was Jensen Seal on loan to Wolfsburg, which is a brilliant move for him, by the way. That's a cracking move for Jensen Seal in that regard. So I think, look, is he going to go to Wolfsburg and start regularly? Like with Huggins, I wouldn't have complained if he got a championship move. But if he's going to Wolfsburg, and especially if he's going to play regularly, then fair enough. That's a brilliant signing. That's a brilliant club for him to go to. Again, it's a bit similar to what was the car going outside? No, it's similar to Huggins needs to play regularly, and again he's had I remember, was it away at Southampton last March in 2024? He got a massive injury, like a really bad one that kept him out for a long, long time. And to be fair, against West Ham he played really, really well. Obviously went off injured. Against Burnley, I think he did struggle. I think he was getting targeted quite a bit. But in general, I can't complain too much with it. I just think it's, what you call it? I think with Seals, again, like we're going to get him regularly playing and we'll see what happens. Because we have to bear in mind, there is still a possibility we get relegated. So it could be that someone like Seals will be massive in the Championship next season, even though we obviously hope to not be there. But we'll wait and see. But no, for him, really, really good. And I think it'll be good experience for him, as long as, and especially if he keeps playing, if he has a season where he's regularly playing, constantly getting continuity, then I think it'll help him and hopefully avoid further injuries. Let's have a look. Ian Brown says, "Hello, Michael. Hello there. Hello, Ian. I hope you're doing all right. I hope everyone's doing." Eddie Bamber, hello, mate. Great content creator. Massive, massive shout to the guy. The generational transfer window for us could have shaped us. Could have shaped us for a decade or more, possibly. Gertrudia and Brobby are best friends as both Dutch internationals. I didn't know that, actually. Okay, that'd be quite helpful. And I believe Gertrudia and Brobby, I believe they know Michele, I think. Is it Brobby who knows Michele from their time together at, I can't remember where it was. It might have been somewhere in the Bundesliga, I think. A great window, but I'd like to statement winger to battle Talby. I will get to that in a bit, but yeah. Right, agreed, Seal. We'll get games, but I do think he has a future. Here, I really rate him. Yeah, I, from what I've seen, I do like the look of Seal, but again, it's about playing regular minutes, isn't it? Right, the next loan out. Funny enough, you've said that, Ryan, because I was just about to come to this guy. Seal is the same with Alan Browne. We do go down and be massive in the Championship. So speaking of Alan Browne, sorry, the highlights I've got is just about to show the phase penalty. I've got a feeling he's going to put it bottom right corner, and if he does this, we're going to stay in the Premier League this season. Hey, there we go. We're fine. Right, okay. Let's see, Ryan Haswell. Seal is the same with Alan Browne. If we do go down, he will be massive in the Championship. Well, let's talk about Alan Browne, because Alan Browne's one that, and it's a weird one, because apparently Alan Browne at Preston was quite good with avoiding injuries for the most part, and then he gets a couple of them at Sunderland, which is just, which I think is just a typical Sunderland curse at the moment, to be totally honest. But yes, I think when it comes to Alan Browne, it is a massive. I think it's a big move for him, and I think it's a really good move. I think Middlesbrough, obviously the only team in the Championship with a 100% record. So I think it's a really, real encouraging signing. I think it's a really encouraging move for him. I think it's a really encouraging signing for Middlesbrough. I think I was expecting him, to be totally honest, I was expecting him to go somewhere like Preston back again, probably. I would have been quite surprised if he told me that he would have gone to Borough. But having said that, though, I think Borough, I mean, obviously for Borough, it's a great window for them in hindsight now. They've kept Hayden Hackney, they've got Tommy Conway, they've added some depth, they've added some quality. And Alan Browne, obviously, I mean, Matt Targett, I really like for Middlesbrough. And I think Alan Browne will only further add to what they have. He's a really solid Championship experienced midfielder. Again, it was like, but he was probably one of those in the victim to, say, Patrick Roberts, for example, where, hey, there's his door just scored. He was probably an example of victim to our promotion in some ways, because he wasn't going to be cutting it in the Premier League by now. And I think for him, he's kind of a very solid, steady Championship midfielder. And even last year, was he going to get in the team ahead of Neil, Job, and Rigg? He just wasn't, was he? So, but I think with Middlesbrough, it's a very handy signing. I think you'll have the experience. I think you'll have the sort of the know-how. I think that, and I wouldn't be surprised if his experience behind the scenes at Sunderland played a massive, massive part in us doing as well as we did. So I think for Middlesbrough, I think it's a really, really good move. And I'm very happy that Alan Browne's found somewhere where hopefully he will. And it actually doesn't have to move too far, does he? he has to move probably about an hour or so down the motorway or wherever else it is. But yeah. So, well, then there you go. So Ryan's just put this. Millwall and Preston wanted him, but Browne said in his interview he has young kids, so he wanted to be close to home. So I agree, he's a fantastic sign for Borough. Okay, that makes sense. If Borough came in from Sunderland, he doesn't have to move too far down the border, does he? So yeah, but for Browne, really good. And I think, again, it's one where if we do get relegated, as Ryan said earlier, then Browne will be handy again in the Championship. So to me, a loan move makes complete sense. And at least this season, he will be going out and getting minutes. Is this gonna? Why is this thing not moving upwards? Hang on. Whoa, here we go. That's it. Let's have a quick look. Just quickly catch up on more comments, and I'll talk about Patrick Roberts' loan, and then we'll talk about the incomings. Ryan Haswell McKelly was at Leipzig, so Gertrudian knows him. That's it, Leipzig. I was trying to wonder where it was. Oh, and Roof's called up to the Netherlands main squad for the first time. Yeah, I've seen that. Well, based on his performance at the weekend and performances so far this season, he definitely deserves it, that's for sure. Tom Hardy. Looking at the defence, I think the club have done outstanding business this window. Shame about the Simi. I also think Seal could be a miss, but can't argue with additions at the back are good. I like that. I like that from you, Tom. Nice one. Hello, Patrick. Owen, I will quickly show this to people to show how kind Patrick was. Before the game on Saturday, and he knows I'm a nerd, because I'm a Harry Potter, Marvel, Star Wars, Patrick showed up with this. Nice little Darth Vader Lego keychain, which is good for my inner nerd. But thanks, Patrick. That was really, really good of you to do that. You didn't have to. So thanks very much, my friend. And I hope you are doing well. Let's have a look. Right, Joseph, what's this? What are the chances we add further to the squad in January? Is there one position we maybe need to strengthen, or due to lack of depth or underperformance of players? I'd still think right winger. I think that's the one that we need to really sort of look at it. But I think Bertrand Traore strikes me as, and I'll get onto this later on, but he strikes me as a player who can do the job now to hopefully keep us in the Prem. Yeah, I'll talk about more about that later. But I do think we will add to it, depending on what options become available by the time January comes around. Leeds are fuming. They haven't signed any players at the back end of the window before yesterday. I saw them staying up, but I don't know now. I've said my bottom three will be Brentford, Leeds, and Burnley. And I largely still stand by that. I think Brentford are obviously a very, very savvy club, but they've now lost Mbeumo, Wissa, and Norgard in the same window with Thomas Frank going. So, and don't get us wrong, I think they did brilliantly to get the money they did from Mbeumo and Wissa. Not because both are bad players, but because they were within the last year of their contracts there. So that's really good news. And actually, dare I say it, I'm kind of happy Newcastle signed Wissa. Not because of the... Well, obviously I'm not. It's Newcastle. I'd rather he'd gone somewhere else. But, it's Newcastle United. But what I mean is, we're going to be competing against Brentford this season. So, as far as I'm concerned, I think I'd rather him have gone to Newcastle than stayed at Brentford. So I'm thinking about Sunderland's chances first and foremost. But yeah, Leeds, Daniel Farke, I'm just not convinced with him at Premier League level. And to a lesser degree, Scott Parker at Burnley. So we'll wait and see. Aye, Patrick. And in case he says, missed you on Saturday in the Hilton. No problem, mate. No, thanks very much. It was very nice of you. Let's see. Yes, we missed again. See it for sure. And Acacia is off to Palace. Be warned, everyone. Acacia and a mental Acacia and a mental mother, who are the ones who go down to Sunderland every game. That's dedication. Puts me to shame, really. But yeah, right. The last loan, Patrick Roberts. I know for a fact that Lauren will be absolutely devastated. In fact, I'm going to try and see if I can get her in the comments. Hang on. Patrick Roberts. What do you guys think about Roberts? Because this is an interesting one. Let's have a quick look. Talk about Lauren Kenny's husband. Right, here we go. Right, so Patrick Roberts. Right, Patrick Roberts. Yeah, he's Hang on. I'm guessing, Ian, you're talking about Roberts here. If you are, I agree with you. Yeah, see if we can get. I'm trying to see if I can persuade Lauren. Hang on. Just give me a minute. I'm going to try and see if I can get Lauren in the comments. There we go. Right, just sent that. So, let's have a look. Right, Roberts. Yeah, it's a shame, really. Now, I want to highlight a post from Graham Falk that he put, and who is part of the brilliant WTF podcast. Everyone there are sound individuals. They don't turn into a dick, basically, if you disagree with them. And I think it's really, really, really appreciated in that regard. But something he did say, it was a post when, I think it was either this morning or late last night that he said it, where we and everyone here will remember this. We watched years and years of a Sunderland team clearly not give a hoot about the badge, clearly not care about what has been bestowed upon them. And I know obviously Sunderland are nowhere near like Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United in terms of club size, but we are still massive. It should be an honour and a privilege for players to play here. And a lot of them treated it with utter disdain and disregard for what the badge represented in the people of Sunderland. There we go. There's Patrick's husband. Hello there, Lauren. And then in case say Wheezy, hey, Lauren's here. That's a phrase I've never heard before. But yeah, Patrick Roberts wasn't one of them. And although Roberts did absolutely frustrated the living daylights out of me sometimes with his final third decision making, I do believe Roberts did give his all and evidently was trying and evidently did care. And I think that and I know that people say, well, hang on, shouldn't that be a given? It should be, but it simply isn't these days. Look at what's happened with, say, Wissa and Isak, with the sagas that have gone on there, especially Isak. It should be a given, but it's pure and simple. The simple truth of the matter is it's not a given anymore. Roberts, obviously, I never ever fault Roberts' work rate and work ethic, and he came up with some pretty big moments where he came up with Sheffield Wednesday away was one of them in the League One playoff semi-finals, where that was the tie then, and it's hard to believe that was only 3 years ago, but that is the tie that I felt, if we don't go up, it'll be because we've lost to Sheff Wed. Once we got past Sheff Wed, I knew we were going to beat Wickham and get out of League One finally after 4 years in that stupid division. But the point I'm bringing up is Roberts delivered in an instrumental moment in terms of getting us to the final and helping us out into the Championship. He obviously scored that brace he scored against Reading. The absolutely brilliant goal he scored against Watford, if you remember, the playoff year under Mowbray, when we came back from 2-0 down to get an absolute stunning goal there. And then even last season, in the playoff final against Sheffield United, he really, for me, changed the game. He changed it when he came on. There was a bit more impetus, a bit more urgency. And obviously at that point, later on in the game when we were 1-1, Sheffield United didn't know what hit them. We were constantly running at them and constantly getting at them. So for me, I think Roberts does deserve a massive amount of credit for the part that he did play. Now, ultimately, was he going to be good enough for the Premier League? And to be fair, even long, because I'm in 2 group chats with Lauren, to be fair, and even she admitted this. Although I appreciate for Lauren in particular, and for people who love Patrick Roberts, of course, it's hard for me to see him go because I like him as a character. I like for what he brings. I like the fact that when we signed him, he was a level above League One. But we have to be ruthless. Was Roberts going to cut it in the Premier League? Absolutely not for me. I'd have loved to have seen it if he could have done it. And I appreciate there are those that think he would have done, but I don't. I would have been very surprised if Roberts had cut it at Premier League level. So it's a shame, but I think it was the right move for him to go. And bearing in mind as well, the reason he came to Sunderland and left Man City in the end was because he was getting loaned out constantly and wasn't getting many minutes. Sunderland gave him that home and gave him the platform to settle somewhere. And bear in mind, he was with us for 3.5 seasons. We forget about that. But yeah, obviously but the weird thing for me with Roberts is I think Roberts is a solid Championship winger. I'm not sure necessarily he's a top 4 starting Championship winger. And I know that sounds weird because we finished in the top 4. But what I mean is, for a player of his technical ability, he should be registering more numbers, in my opinion. And I think someone like 15 to 20, well, okay, 15 to 20 is harsh. 15 or so goals and assists is fair for a winger of Roberts' ability. Roberts is excellent until he gets into the final third. And then he suddenly goes, and then doesn't know what to do, which could be handy for the opposition thing, I suppose. But we'll wait and see. Why don't talk about Daniel? Don't worry, Ian, that will be talked about. And if I don't, remind me, and then I will. But I promise you, I will try my best to talk about it. But with Roberts, I think he deserves better than staying on the bench and not playing. He needs to be going out and playing games. And I think it's a very good move for Birmingham. And Birmingham have been very, very ambitious club this season. And I think it just goes to show. Now, I believe his contract runs out until the end of this season. But James Copley did say to me on Twitter yesterday that I believe we have the option to extend. Now, again, like with Sealed, like with Huggins, like with Browne, with Roberts as well, again, there is a chance we go down. And if we do go down, Roberts will be handy in the Championship. I might want better than him starting. I might want better than him starting in the Championship if we were there next season. But I think he's a very handy player to have. There's absolutely no way I'd not want him in there. I've already looked at that. Yes, Lawrence here. Right, let's have a look. What did Mrs. Roberts say? Mrs. Roberts. Worst day of my life yesterday. Roberts was very much underappreciated by a lot of our fan base. He was a huge part in our success. You know, to be fair though, right? Actually, you do look at this, Lauren, to be fair. Regis clearly saw something in him to use him regularly. And to be fair, there were parts of last season, like the start of last season, I remember that Burnley home game last season, and this was just after Jack Clarke had been sold. Roberts was outstanding. I thought he was I thought he was absolutely excellent player on the pitch that day. So I just think the frustration comes from the fact that for a player of his ability, he should be doing more numbers. But there's no getting away that Roberts is a very handy player, and I was glad he was part of the squad. It's hard to persuade players why we won't go down, but somehow the directors pulled it off. Fair play, we deserve respect on him. Well, Ian, we are huge though. Like even as a promoted club, we are huge, and I think people are finally starting to wake up to that. You know, I mean, players like Granit Xhaka, for example, I would have thought Sunderland, as if we became established, should have a chance of signing someone like that, but not as a promoted club. That's just beyond my wildest dreams. There. As he ran, he's been great for us over the years, getting us from League One to where we are now. But I think we needed more from our wingers. He gave us all. He gave us all. He really did. Good luck to him. Yeah, I hope he smashes it at Birmingham. He deserves to be. Like I said, he deserves to be playing week in, week out. And he seems like one of those down to earth blokes that doesn't just chase the money. He doesn't do the easiest option. He wants to play football. And unfortunately, that should be a given. But the truth of the matter is, it's just not the case anymore. Which is a massive shame. Casey, he's been a great player for us, even though he does give the ball away a lot. I think that's probably my biggest thing, which that I think sometimes his decision making really did annoy me when he tried to do too much, then lost the ball. But he had the guts to take players on repeatedly. No, Lauren, absolutely, I agree with you. He delivered when it mattered. Like I said, a goal against Sheff Wed in the League One playoff semi-final, which got us to the final, and then obviously, I cannot think of dude, where's my car? And then he delivered at Wembley, and I thought helped change the game when he did come on. So he delivered in our playoff campaigns, that's for sure. When it really mattered, he did. DJ says, more Michael, Roberts flatters to deceive in my opinion. On another point, you said 4 or 5 years ago we spent north of £150 million players in 2025 and have sent men in white coats. Oh, good God. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Rob, the goal against Watford got us a point, and that's what we got in the playoffs, really. No, absolutely. And yes, Ryan, the through ball to my ender at Wembley as well. Yeah, we forget how good that was as well. Massive moment. So to be fair, last year he got like 10 goal contributions, I think. So we'll wait and see. Yeah, I think what was it, Lauren? He came on injured for Wembley. Oh, did he? Oh, hang on. Yeah, he might have done actually. Well, even so, that's even better credit to him for that. And then Lauren says, "Can't be sentimental, can we?" No, unfortunately, we can't. That's just the truth of the matter of it. If we want to be staying in the Premier League, we cannot be that much. We can't have much sentimental value if we don't believe if these particular players will step up. And it might sound harsh, but we want to be re-established in the Premier League, don't we? So to do that, we have to be ruthless. The last thing I'll say on Roberts before I go through the comments and talk about the incomings, though, is good luck to him. I really hope he smashes it. Because of anything, out of all the stuff he's been through with going from club to club to club on loan from Man City and everything else, he deserves to be getting into a rhythm. And I think for a Championship club, very, very solid option. Very solid option. Ian, the free agent signing in Reynolds was our best signing after £180 million spent. Let's see. Reynaldo is a unit. Yep, I completely agree. He is. Oh, yeah. So far, I mean, I know he gave the penalty away on Saturday against Brentford. And looking back at it, I wasn't sure it was a penalty at the time. It was. It definitely was. But yeah, we can say it now. We won. It doesn't matter. Reynaldo's a unit. However, he has a hot head, don't he? Yeah, well, he's certainly a character, but not in a bad way. Not in a bad way by any means. I will miss you, Roberts, my dear friend. And then Lauren goes, please take that extra year, Sunderland. Be warned, guys, Lauren might perv on Granit Xhaka now. She perved on Patrick Roberts quite a bit. By the way, she knows I'm joking. She can take a good bit of banter. Yeah, well, I think Paddy Roberts has all the skills, is a great team player at his best, but I think he lacks the killer instincts. That's ultimately, David, why he hasn't been a regular in the Premier League, I don't think. That's probably why he's been in the Championship. Oh, wasn't he our top assist in our team, top assister in our team last season? Yeah, I think he got 2 goals and 8 assists. In fact, let me double check that. Let's check the stats for Patrick Roberts. Right, let's have a look. But yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that you are right. I think he was. But someone correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But let's have a look. Right, Lauren Kenny's husband. Let's have a look. Yeah, according to Google anyway, it says 2024-25 Championship. He got 2 goals and 8 assists, and 9 yellow cards for whoever gives a hoot about that, really. But yeah, so obviously in the Championship, he's definitely a handy player. Absolutely. Here's you'll be good for him to go to Birmingham. Listen to his interview. He worked under Chris Davis at Celtic when he was the manager there. Roberts played best when he had someone near him to pop the ball off with. Human others didn't offer the same. Yeah, when Roberts was with Ahmad, them two, and I noticed this. I think when we played Middlesbrough at home, or when we played Fulham in the FA Cup 2.5 years ago, I thought, oh god, bloody hell, these guys look like they know what they're doing. They look like they've got a fantastic what's what I'm looking for, camaraderie and partnership going between them, and it was so good to watch. Brilliant, scintillating at the best of times. Teams couldn't live with them in the Championship. John Moody, would you be happy with 4 points from the next 3 games? Palace away, Villa home. Absolutely, I'd be buzzing with that. I think these next 3 games are very, very difficult, and they're all clubs that are in Europe for a reason. And I think that, although I believe, particularly ahead of Villa and ahead of Palace and Forest, we should be higher than them in the pecking order. We're not at the minute. Simple as that. We're just a promoted club at the moment. So I think from that regard, yes, I think we're. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to click that. There we go. No, I think that 4 points from the next 3 would be very, very good. Normally, hope you're doing well. Glad to catch one of your lives. Crazy yesterday for deadline day. Oh, thanks very much, Josh. That's much appreciated, my friend. And yeah, well, obviously, I was at work. I was at work yesterday evening. So this is why I'm doing this now, because this is the earliest opportunity I had to talk about what we did on deadline day. And by the time I got in from work, I was like, nah, video can wait till tomorrow. But there you go. Thanks very much, mate. It's appreciated. Dave. Anyone see Roy Keane's comments on Sky about our last gasp home against Coventry? He said the unbelievable scenes will prove we're a proper football club. Yeah, no, I think it's absolutely right. I think we are, and I think again it's nice that, and hopefully more and more people start putting respect on our name, and that when we sign someone who might be deemed too good for Sunderland, people can go, well, no, hang on, Sunderland should be able to attract players like that. Eddie, are we staying up? Yes. I've said this since we signed Xhaka, and I've said at the start of the window. In fact, I'll tell you, I think I put Sunderland to finish 17th. Just mind, but 17th. I think we just have enough, but we shall see. We'll see. Hopefully we do anyway. I think if we do stay up, then I think it's just as transformative as getting promoted was in the first place for us. And Robert should have went to West Brom with Metham and Madja. I'll tell you what, very quickly, yeah. West Brom signing Metham, I think it was 1.5 million. That's a cracking bit of business. And I think it's one of the best signings of the window, to be honest. Yeah, but I do get what you mean, Ian. Would have found a bit of camaraderie there. He says, I think we do too. Yeah, I agree. Hello, Angie. Angie's very kind to me on Twitter, actually, to be fair to her. Sorry, Michael, just found the stream. What a summer we've had. 10 out of 10 windows. Sorry to see Roberts leaving, but if I'm honest, I don't think he would have got in our team now. No, he wouldn't have. He absolutely wouldn't have. Right, let's talk about the incomings. We'll rattle through them and we'll start to wrap this up in the next, say, 10, 15, 20 minutes. But thanks to all 56 people watching. Let's see if we can get the likes going. Let's see if we can actually get people liking the stream. And evidently people can hear me all right because I haven't had any comments yet, unless they've been incredible at lip reading what I've said. Then, but I think we're okay. Right, incomings. So the first one now this is where the pronunciations are going to get very interesting. Let's see a quick look. Eddie, while I'm waiting for Sunderland's Twitter to load up, because I'll go back and then so I've got something frame of reference to go back to try and pronounce the players' names properly. Let's see. I don't think we'll be involved in a relegation battle all season. Wow. Tell you what, fair enough. I'll absolutely be over the moon with that. Let's have a quick look. Just think we have enough quality to keep consistently picking up points. I hope so. DJ, I fancy us to finish 12th. Honestly, we can only get better as players gel together. Yeah, no, that's a very good point, actually. Very good point. obviously the losses will come in two at times. Oh yeah, we're going to lose more than we win. I think people know that. We just need to. This is why I think beating whatchamacallit. This is why I think beating West Ham and Brentford were massive. And I'm still a little bit annoyed at the Burnley loss, I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, if you said 6 points from the first 3 games, absolutely, you snap your hand off. David, a lot more physicality in the squad now. Mid-table a possibility. I'm fascinated to see how Cirkin, Neil and Rigg now progress. And in fact, yeah, let's see. I like that. Sunderland put very late last night, a summer to remember. Yeah, it definitely has been a summer to remember. Right, let's quickly go through these incomings, and then we will. Then I might talk about Cirkin and Neil and stuff like that. Right, where is it? Oh yeah, here we go. So we have Lutz Cheryl Gertrudia, I think. Herr Troider. Hang on. Oh, sorry, hang on. Sorry. Someone, David Cockney Mackham. I love that name. My Dutch friend says Gertrudia's name is pronounced Herr Troider. Well, so Herr Troider. Okay. Interesting stuff. Hang on, let's have a look. Ian says, how is Barr and Pambelli still here? And Lexington Rushing are set to go out on loan. Probably because nobody wanted them, I'd imagine. Tony says, our biggest key to survive is how we handle December and the AFCON. The thing I'm bearing in mind with AFCON is really, well, actually, no, we're going to have Leeds and Brentford in there, aren't we? I would have rather we had Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, teams like that, Man United even to a degree. I'd have rather had those games then, because if you're going to have players away for AFCON anyway, it's not going to make too much difference in terms of what results we get. Whereas we've already got like a couple of what could potentially be a couple of 6-pointers in there. But I do get the point. Right. I'll tell you what then. I'm going to say Herr Troider, and if I'm wrong, you can blame David for that. Right. So we have signed him, and I'm not going to bother reading statements out because obviously there's just no point. But I believe we signed him from Leipzig for, I think it was around £2 million on loan. And we've got just over £18 million buy option next summer if we stay up. Well, I would assume it was if we stay up. No getting away from the fact that we absolutely needed a defender. And I believe he was about to go to Marseille, wasn't he? And then we swooped in and hijacked the deal very, very late on. So that's encouraging stuff. And obviously the Premier League, being a club in the Premier League, you're going to have more finances than even the biggest league clubs abroad. Obviously, apart from Real Madrid's, Barca's, PSG's, Bayern Munich's, Milan clubs probably to some extent. But yeah, I think it goes, and I believe with Herr Troider that I believe Forest were looking at him a couple of weeks back. So I don't know if that's accurate or not. If it is, and a club that in the Europa League were keen to look at him, then I'm thinking, all right, he must have something about him. Obviously, the main thing we were going for was John Lucimi, or Lucimi, however you say his name. But that obviously wasn't going to materialise because Bologna were just being too stubborn about it. So it was good to get him in over the line. At least now we've got Michele and Herr Troider who can play right back and centre half. So although it would be quite... Although I would have personally preferred we don't rely on that too much. I'd want to have players for specialist positions and not rely on one player who's versatile to cover multiple roles. Then I think, but in having said that, okay, we'll see what happens with that one. Oscar, why on earth have I said it like that? Let's have a look. Right, Brian Brobby. Try saying that 5 times quickly, folks. Well, with AFCON, they can't all get to the finals. They'll be back in different stages. Let's have a look. Won't other teams we are due to play have their key players from AFCON too, though? I hope so, mate. Really hope so. Yeah, and the Brobby and Herr Troider signings set us up from AFCON with Mundell, Brobby and Mayender up top. Yeah, maybe. We'll wait and see. Right, quickly on Right, why am I saying Oscar Brobby? Oh my god, I'm thinking of Oscar Bob from Man City because I was saying I wanted us to sign a winger and he was one I would have wanted us to go for, but there you go. Right, Brian Brobby. Okay, so we've got him on a 5-year contract from Ajax. This is a fascinating one because apparently he didn't have the greatest of years last year, I believe. But bearing in mind, I believe there was a lot of personal things and like really traumatic personal things that were playing on his mind there. Such as his mate was being constantly blackmailed, apparently. I don't know why. I don't know who the hell was trying to do that. But, being blackmailed. And then I believe his mother's house got set fire to, or something bad really happened there. Thankfully, I think she hasn't died or anything. But if there's a lot of personal things going on to that extreme, no wonder his performances wouldn't have been right up there. Fair enough. So But apparently 18 months ago, 12 to 18 months ago, his record was really good and apparently was really highly sought after. So this is the type of signing we do, though. We do signings that maybe have a lot of quality but have lost their way, and we can, put an arm around them, give them love and affection, give them whatever they need to go and thrive on, and everything else. So yeah, you know what? Fair enough. And for a 5-year contract, I know this is a weird one because obviously we had Mark Guéhiou be recalled by Chelsea from Sunderland, and I believe, and there was rumours that we got a £5 million recall compensation fee or whatever it was. Now that could be just rumours, though. Someone official might have to confirm that. But if that's true, that pays for probably Brobby's first year of PSR. As in, when you're buying a player, you spread the cost over the length of their contract. So that recall money from Guéhiou could pay for this year's instalment for Brobby, which is mental how you think about it. As Jam Sani said, it was like 5D chess, wasn't it? He said it in a group chat I was in. So it is 5D chess in that regard. How time will tell how good he is, but he looks a very big physical impending presence, I suppose. So if that is true, then brilliant, absolutely fantastic. And it's and obviously I think and the Premier League, while it's obviously very technical, it's physical, it's fast, it's pacey, it's athletic, athleticism all over the place. So I think Brobby, based on just how I look of him, he looks like he's got those attributes. And again, like with the likes of Talby and Adingra and Diarra and Siddiqui, and obviously now Brobby, and even players like now Meander, Rig, and Hume, 5-year contracts, because when we're then protecting ourselves, we are massively protecting ourselves with financials from PSR, and then if we go down, we've got enough years left on their contracts to sell some of these assets to break even with PSR. So, but yeah, Brobby, I mean, obviously, look, I think he's straight. Bobby's Netherlands international, 23 years old, 1.8 meters in height, and everything else. So yeah, well, time will tell how good he is. He is going to be. So Turn Army, hey mate. Not got like Isak leaving was kind of a bit funny, but I am glad you've signed Wissa to make Brentford weaker. But I hope you're doing all right, my friend. Warren and Michael, I think both teams have bought and sold really well. Yeah, I think I'd probably say the same, to be fair. I think even Newcastle selling Isak from a PSR point of view means you could sign Wolfmade, I think is how you say it, and Wissa. You've signed both of them effectively for less than what you sold Isak for, which is how you should be doing it, really. Here we put a £30 million bid in for Fatu and the Simi for 60 million. Spent 25 on Brobby and go. I forgot his name. Treharder, I think is it how you say it. Hang on, where is it? Herr Troida, right? Okay then. I did think I was. In fairness, I did think I was. Right, where was it? Oh Christ, quite a few comments I've missed out on. Right, let's have a look. I have no doubt as these players gel together, we will become constantly better. I like the look of Talby, very talented, but I think from Saturday he may be raw talent at this stage. Well, he will be. He's 20 years old, isn't it? Hello, Peter. To all Mackham supporters, which is your best Sunderland? Oh, I don't know what on earth happened there. Sorry, guys. Was that okay? For some reason, it said it was syncing for some reason. Right, okay. I'm hoping it hasn't messed things up. Right, to answer the question. How do I get this thing off? Right. To all Mackham supporters, which is your best Sunderland buy of last month? Most important is Xhaka, but best one, I like the look of it, Bib Diarra, mind. I think that's a really, really solid move. But we'll wait and see what happens with But everyone might have different opinions, though. This Alan Browne and Borough is a great move. With his experience in the Championship and leadership qualities, he'll be great. I completely agree with you. Why would we not recall money for Brownhill? Josh Brownhill. Maybe. I mean, apparently he's turned down huge offers from, like, say, Burnley, and then, turned down a huge offer from Leicester, I believe it was. But on a free transfer, I wouldn't complain with it. We needed a natural striker, says Patrick, and we got one. Peter Harvey, Xhaka, and Roof's best. Yeah, Roof's is a very good shout as well. I think we've proven with goalkeepers that I think goalkeepers can save you a number of points over the course of a whole season. And I think when it comes to Roof's, and look, I like Patterson. I think a lot of people make Patterson to be out to be worse than he actually is. But I think he's a top end Championship keeper. I think in the Premier League he would have been found wanting a bit, and I think it was vital to be able to spend on another goalkeeper. Gazzovi, very good shout, Rob. Gazzovi been our best signing of the summer. Yeah, I think he's been immense. Exactly, Patrick, we've got a proper striker. Let's see, Angie. Xhaka, best signing. He's a great leader and will push the players to higher levels. I agree, Angie. It'll be good. It'll be good to see new lads playing red and white. I agree, Acacia. I completely agree with you. Let's see, I don't think he'll go down this season, mate. I think Wolves, Brentford, and West Ham are in trouble. I think it's going to be them three, us, Leeds, and Burnley. That's going to be the bottom six. Which order, I don't know. But I still stand by. I think it'll be Brentford, Burnley, and Leeds. I think they're the three who will get relegated. But we will find out how right or wrong, or inevitably wrong, that I am. But hopefully we stay up anyway. In which case, Jacko's the best player we bought, and Roof's keeper as well. Hey, there's me good bro, Paul Wilson. How you doing? See, interesting. Keith Downey said last night up to 9 players left us on deadline. It's be interesting to see who the others is. You notice he says up to, though. It doesn't mean 9 players will leave. But yeah, so we've had 4 of them leave on loan. I think Rustian apparently was in talks to leave on loan, but I don't know how. But obviously, bear in mind some of the transfer windows are still open across the world, so we'll wait and see. Brownhill wants 100k a week, doesn't he? Yeah, I've heard apparently he does. And if he does, then obviously you don't go near him with a 10-foot barge pole for that sort of money. That's very greedy from him, by the way. The dogs are going off in the background. They clearly agree with me. Hello, Jimmy. Where are the Speakman Mount mob? Time for apologies to Speakman. Well, yeah, I mean, I've said that I think far too many people a year ago, and there's one thing having fair criticisms, but it's another one having having fair criticism is one thing, but it's a different one entirely to people who are keen to just write everything off and want to start again. And to me, it's like, well, no, like there's a reason. Put it this way: there's a damn good reason. I think a lot of people still backed what Speakman and KLD and Harvey and now obviously Gazolfi, of course, were doing. There's a very specific reason people were backing what they were saying. So, if you're asking what I think that I think it's to an extent. I think Speakman does deserve apologies. Some criticism of him was warranted in the 23-24 season, I would say. But if you're going to give him criticism for that, you have to give Harvey it as well. You have to be consistent. So we'll see with that one. But yeah, no, I think Speakman, KLD, Harvey, and now Gazzovi, I think have been absolutely fantastic for the club since they've come in on the whole. Been some rocky moments, but generally have been very good. Doug Green, the marquee signing definitely has to be Granit Xhaka. Some overall excellent business. I agree. So the 3 £10 million signings, Alderete, Roos, and Michele are the best. That's a good shout. David Brown, Ajax fan interview this morning. Brobby, not the finished article. Sounds like he had some personal problems last season and things went a bit wrong. Definitely a confidence player. Fair enough. I think a lot of players are, especially strikers, are these days. We need homegrown players in our 25 squad, says Patrick, so a lot will have to stay. Yeah, that's fair enough. Let's see if I can get... Oh, here we go. Right. That's our Tony, I think. We've lost one unproven striker and got one proven with problems. Could still need one. But I think we'll be okay. Would love Man United to go down mine. Amron hasn't got a clue. Well, if that ends up happening, then if they do end up struggling like that again, Amiron will not be in a job. That's for certain. He'll get sacked soon enough. I have just read that one. Ian, people are criticising Brobby, but he's 23 with a lot of professional. I think he's been Mundo with 22. David said, Meander, Isidore, and Ballard's goals demonstrate the importance of getting balls into the box instead of trying to walk the ball in the net. My only criticism of Roberts. Fair enough. And by the way, that's another thing. Every player who scored for us so far this season has been with us in the championship. So that's quite promising in and of itself. Angie with RL with Angie saying, RL being the players we have, they'll put their arms around Brobby and bring out the best in him. I think we have found a gem. Let's hope so. Right, let's speak about the last deadline day incoming. I was going to try and do this, make this half an hour, 45 minutes, but we've gone on for nearly 50 minutes, but hey ho, people don't seem to be sick of it yet. So, Bertrand Traore. So, now they believe this was a 1-year deal with a club option of another year. Now, I remember it was the Bertrand Traore. He was at Chelsea, then at Aston Villa, everything else in between. He's at Ajax, obviously. Rob says all the goals have been assisted by new players as well. Yep, that's really good. Good combination of all the new players. I think we're... And then, Robson scored by all players. Yeah, Traore is a weird one because I said that I think we really wanted a right winger, and obviously Traore fits that description. I think Ajax wanted to get him off the books so they could get some money for him because I believe he had a year left on his contract there. And I think giving him a 1 year deal at least is sensible enough to the point where, okay, if it doesn't work, we don't have to commit to another year. And then if he does work, we can get him tied down to a longer deal. Obviously, he's obviously got Premier League experience. I do personally feel like I would have liked to have seen someone like well, obviously Ahmad wasn't going to happen, but it would have been lovely. I'd have liked us to have gone for Harvey Elliott. I'm not going to lie. I think Harvey Elliott, who went to Villa on loan with an obligation to buy, and I do get Liverpool's thinking that maybe Villa would be a better move because one, they're in Europe, and two, they're less likely to go down than Sunderland are, so they get that money next season. But I would have liked Sunderland to. I'm hoping so. I'd have thought Sunderland would have gone all over that, and we might have done. It might have just been turned down. He might have turned down the move. Liverpool might have turned it down. And if that's the case, I can't fault Sunderland. But that's someone who I would have liked to have seen at right wing. But I think Traore is going to be one that's going to be handy for the here and now, and handy for what we want to do this season. And really, I think so to sort of end it now, to look at the window as a whole. In fact, here's one. What do people think about the rating for the window? What rating out of 10 would you give this summer transfer window? It's definitely the best transfer window I remember Sunderland having since I've supported them. But obviously, I've only been into football for about 15 years or so at this point. But having said all of that, I think we are. I think we are at a point where this is the best window I think we've had. Certainly that I've seen us have. But there might be fans of an older generation that might think of better ones. Let's have a look. So, who do you think will get sacked first? I'd say Nuno. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Nuno just because that Forest owner's an absolute nutter. Let's have a look. What else has Tsunami just said there? I wish when we saw these out, they said give us Elliott too. Yeah, no, I can completely understand that. Rob SFC, 11 out of 10, no doubt. It's defo a 10. Golden Twist makes you wonder when the planning for this window started. Well, the problem, the thing is as well, our season, compare us to Leeds and Burnley. Their season finished 3 weeks ahead of ours. We still had the playoffs to go through. So to get this amount done of this quality, or seemingly quality anyway, we don't know, a lot of these lads haven't played yet properly enough. But of getting players like, Granit Xhaka and Simon Adingra, for example, and Roofs and Michele and Alderete and Didiara and Siddiqui and stuff like that, to get these deals done with less time to work with is incredible planning. Incredible. So I wouldn't be surprised but you got to remember, Golden, they wouldn't have been able to plan properly until after the Sheffield United game, because we would have had a list of players who would stayed in the Championship and a list of players who had gone to the Premier League, and thankfully it was the latter. But yeah, I remember how different this window could have looked if we'd lost that game. It just emphasises, with Sheffield United on 0 points in the Championship at the minute, how that one mistake from Moore and that goal from Watson changed everything for both clubs. It's frightening when you think about it. How would it be better? Right, I'll tell you what then. I'll quickly give it better realistically. There's only one thing I can think of, and I would say a 9.5 out of 10. I would say at the very least it's a strong 9 out of 10. The only thing I think that could have improved it is right wing, and Traore might do a good job. So hold me to this if I'm wrong, and he does excellently because I really want him to. But I would have liked to have seen an star quality right winger. And obviously, I know within reason, because we've just got promoted, that is going to be difficult to attract. But at the same time, Sunderland have signed Xhaka this window and Adingra for a promoted club. So I think it's not beyond the realms of possibility that I would say if we'd signed someone like a Harvey Elliott, then I would have said 10 out of 10. Traore, but don't get me wrong, I'd rather have signed Traore than not have a right winger coming in at all, obviously. And I think there's definitely valid reasons to say 10. I would say a good 9.5 though. And it's definitely the strongest window that we've had in ages. And obviously we had to do this in order to give ourselves a shot at staying up. But make no mistake, that's the only thing I can think of that could have improved it. Otherwise, I have no complaints at all. Roofs, upgrade on Pato. I think Alderete looks very good so far. But again, so far, long way to go yet. Again, so far, Michele looks really good. Reinildo looks really good. Xhaka, we know what he's about. Diarra looks excellent from what I've seen for the first few couple of games. Wasn't great at Burnley, but the 2 home games he was immense. Same with Siddiqui. You got Adingra, you got Talby, who was in the Champions League last year. Brobby, who's got vast amounts of physicality as well. And there's and another thing we have to remember this window, tying Mayenda Regan Hume down till 2030. That was also massive as well. So yeah, I think there's just a lot of things to be positive about, and it's so lovely, isn't it? So lovely. Where was it David saying here? 10 out of 10. The volume of transfers and quality is by far the best. I think we've had the best window out of the 3 promoted clubs, by the way. I know we had to do the most in terms of work, but yeah, I think you can't ignore some of the signings we've made if they perform to their potential and deliver anyway. Jake, unreal window with just a lot of key players we await. AFCON, yeah, we're just going to have to brave through that, I think. Patrick saying 9 out of 10 would like to see Josh Sargent added 2. I doubt that was going to happen, really, to be honest. I think once Norwich sold Nunes to Ipswich, and on top of selling Boris signs, I think that was never going to happen. But I could take your point, though. Tony says, definitely the best window and the nearest for excitement was Roy Keane, but his lack quality. That's the thing, the Prem's a different beast now to when Roy Keane was there with us, wasn't he? Hashtag epic windows. Tibek, I love that. Toonami, you've done a Forest, but problem with Forest, they overspent and got a points deduction. You haven't. That's another big thing, because we've probably spent more than what Forest did. But the difference is, we brought in £6 million from Pierre Equa. We brought in around at least 30, I think it is, for Joe Bellingham. 10 million for Tommy Watson. And this is off the back of selling Jack Clark and Ross Stewart in previous windows as well. So we know when to sell at the right time, and that helps with PSR. So we'll have to see. But yeah, we've spent a lot. We obviously had to spend a lot. But hey, you know what? Fair enough. But yeah, if we do a Forest, then we're in Europe in the next couple of seasons, then I'll absolutely be over the moon with that. Hello, Mike. How you doing? Mike at Black Cat TV. Ergen Prepper. I love that name. Absolutely love it. Let's see. Angie, 10 out of 10. What we've seen, our supporters are all in. Stadium will be a fortress and home wins needed to stay up. Absolutely, Angie. And I think beating West Ham and Brentford was massive. I think when we're playing Wolves, when we're playing Leeds, when we're playing Burnley, I think those games need to be targeted as 3 points. Doesn't mean we'll win, obviously, but they need to be targeted as 3 points. And I think we need to be the 12th man this season. And so far in the first couple of games, I think we've definitely done that. We've been the 12th man in the first couple of games. I actually think that the crowd on Saturday against Brentford helped a massive part in us getting over the line, as well as obviously, I think it was like Brad Sharp said on What the Folk that I think, as well as having the quality on the pitch, the fans definitely helped a part. To me, we signed someone who was playing Champions League last season on right wing. I think Talby's a left winger though. I could be wrong though. If Talby is a right winger, then fair enough. Asking for more is unrealistic. I disagrey there, Eddie. I don't think it is. I think asking for a sort of a Harvey Elliott type player for the right wing, I think it's I don't think that was unrealistic personally, especially since he went to Villa, who you could say at the minute are below us in the league, even though they're obviously not going to go down, and they're in Europe. But I get the point. So that's fine. I disagree that it was unrealistic. I think asking much more than what I've suggested, as in a right winger, another one on top of this, then asking for more is unrealistic. But there you go. Let's see. Yeah, of course, we'd like to have brought Ahmad, but it wasn't happening ever. Yeah, no, I agree. I'd have been astonished if that, and maybe that might happen. Maybe that might end up happening in the near future. We don't know. Maybe in the next couple of years, if he still doesn't play as where he wants to at Man United, then who knows? Do you know what I mean? Xhaka was a great signing, however, against the bigger teams, he does struggle. Yeah, I think to be fair though, when we're up against the teams that we need to be getting results against, if he does well in those games, then he's worth signing. And not to mention just for his sort of elite level experience as well, which is another crucial thing. Let's have a look. Last part was Malcolm Toonami. The reason Forest got into trouble was their high spend in the Championship as well. Ours was one of the lowest spends. Eddie Stockton high right now. Patrick says, "You're right, Michael. Burnley game gave the management a chance to see what we needed. Maybe a blessing in disguise. Yeah, that might very well be it. And it might mean that we thought, right, hang on, we need a bit more, and then hopefully we're going to give ourselves a platform now to get better across the season." Rob says, "If you look at the team from Saturday, a lot of them players came really early in the window, and that's shown how quickly they've gelled together, especially that midfield three." Yeah, I think you're pretty bang on the money, to be honest. I think it was that was one of the reasons I wanted players in through the door early, and I suspect the club did as well for that very reason, because we wanted to have these guys gel quicker and make sure that and sense the fixtures we had and thought, well, we can get points on the board here. And obviously, the more points you get on the board, the better confidence builds, the more you gel together. So we shall see. But yeah, I think you're bang on. And I agree with you here as well, Rob. Kicking towards the Roker help and second half helps the atmosphere. Yeah, I hope that's well. It's happened against West Ham and Brentford now, so I'm hoping that's a regular thing now. Because I like players kicking towards us second half, so I can kind of get the worst of it out of the way when I see players attacking our end. But there you go. And hey Lee, how you doing, buddy? Smart business's transfer window compared to years ago in League One from Wyke to Brobby. Oh God, we're probably the smartest business in the century. Yeah, like God bless Charlie Wyke, but yeah, it's mental. Right, I think we're going to wrap it up in a minute, guys, because I've been talking for a good part of an hour, and I've still got around 60, 65 people watching. That's absolutely mental. Tonight, am I coming to St. James's Park? Mate, I'd be very lucky to get a ticket. If I can get a ticket, I probably would, but I'd be astonished if I was able to get to Newcastle away. Let's quickly check the likes on here. What have we got? We've got 38 people, sorry, 64. We've got 36 likes. Come on, let's get to 40 likes. Let's get to 40 likes. We can do it, guys. I have faith. Come on. Right, guys. Let's see. Very quickly, David says, "What would be your starting 11? What would be your starting 11 when AFCON starts?" Oh, okay, that's an interesting one. Roofs, Hume. I don't think Michele goes, does he? So I'll say Ballard for the minute. Alderete, just in case Michele does go. Alderete. Obviously, Reynolds at AFCON, isn't he? Okay, fine. Hume left back, Michele right back. Then I think it'll be Alderete and I was going to say Gertrude again. Hertruida, I think is how you say it. I think it'll probably be them. That'll probably be the back four, I would imagine. I would say Xhaka, Riglefe. I'd say that. And then you're looking at the wingers is the issue. Traore probably, and maybe would have to shoehorn in. All right, fine. I don't know. Xhaka, Neil. Then probably like Rig in the 10, Lafay out wide, Traore out on the other side, and if he's not going to AFCON, and then obviously maybe Brobby up front. That's an interesting question. That we'll have to deal with that one. It depends who's going. We'll have to deal with that. Hopefully they're all playing the Newcastle game and then leave. Put it that way. Our new stadium project is about to start. I don't want to leave, but I understand all these modern stadiums now. Tibek says AFCON good could be good in players. We just got players give a chance to fight for their place and battle. Not every player will last all tournaments, so we'll have to see. Yep, no, I agree with you. Cheers, Lee. That's much appreciated. In this case, you're going all right, Lee. Hume left back, you're mad. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting Masuaku plays there, doesn't he? See, that's what I mean. We've got the options there now. And no, I don't think I am. Hume has played quite well at left back, to be honest. But yeah, obviously in the Premier League it might be different. So, well, okay, then maybe Hume right back, Masuaku left back, depending if he's up to match speed by that point. We'll see, JJ. We'll see. Mason Smith, isn't Burkina Faso an African country? Well, in which case we're not going to have any bloody wingers, are we? Masuaku AFCON. See, Jesus, how many bloody players have we got that are going to AFCON? Oh, well. Yeah, we'll have to deal with that nearer the time, guys. We'll have to deal with that nearer the time. Right, let's check the likes one more time before I head off. Come on, guys. Let's see if we can get more. If we've got to 40, then I think we're 43 likes. Right. Okay, guys, I think I am going to leave it there. I ended up being here about half an hour longer than I originally planned, but it's good to see people still enjoy these. And as I said, I'm going to try. There's a chance I might get James Copley back on later in the week. Obviously, we're going to wait later in the week, let the dust settle a little bit. But I think probably towards the back end of this week, if not early weekend, we'll try and get a stream done, and hopefully we can have him for longer than half an hour as well. Hopefully we can have him. We'll wait and see. Tsunami says, I knew we'd play a Champions League game, then straight after got you lot. To be honest, mate, I think you'll beat us at St. James's, but the Stadium of Light, I hope we can get one win against you, but we'll see. It's going to be very hard. AFCON's gone squad. Yeah, maybe. I think there's obviously a few question marks there, but we'll see. Thanks very much, Patrick. Thanks to Better French and Dodging only in 11. Lol. Right, guys, I am going to head off. As you guys know, as you said, if there's anyone here who happens to be watching that isn't subbed, then if you think I've earned a sub, then click the sub button. Just if you've got an account, it just doesn't. It's absolutely free. Doesn't cost a penny, as Sean Middleton says. And thanks to everyone who has watched. It's been much appreciated, and it's been nice to come back doing these again. But yeah, we shall wait and see how it all pans out. But yeah, enjoy the international break. We're 6th in the Premier League, I think it is. Get your passports out, Europa League. Long season. We'll see how it pans out. Anyway, guys, as I always say, take care, you lovely lot, on whatever you're going to be doing on this fine Tuesday morning or day. Stay safe, and how are the lads?